All right, everyone. Hope everyone has had a wonderful day and getting ready for a great Thanksgiving. Everybody that's watching on social media, if you all can go ahead and begin sharing the post for me, I appreciate it. Looking forward to a wonderful discussion. And as we approach this holiday week, something that we all be able to be thankful for, that we can add to our repertoire in the area of financial wellness. Welcome to our monthly financial wellness workshop. And now I'm going to put you in the hands of our very capable coordinator of the financial wellness ministry, Kiera Hall.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening. As you can see, I'm on the beach enjoying life right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Kiera, I think we don't have your volume.
Oh,
It looks like you're unmuted, but maybe you got to choose the right speaker. I mean, the right microphone.
okay. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
No.
I hear it loud and clear.
What about now?
Mm-hmm.
You can hear me though, Byron?
I hear you loud and
on
clear.
your thing, do a test, do a microphone test and see if you can hear yourself on your microphone. You might have the wrong microphone chosen.
Let's see. Hello, 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 hello. My test went good.
You're fine. Maybe it might just be me. Byron, can you hear Kiera?
Yeah, I hear loud and clear.
Okay, it's just me. Go ahead. I'm sorry. It's just me.
Uh-oh.
I'll fix it on my side. Go ahead, Kiera. I'll fix it on my side.
Okay. All right. So tonight's talk is going to be a little different. I feel like everyone is a little different. Like I always like to spice it up and come from a different perspective, a different angle. I don't ever want anybody to come to these meetings and get bored with financial wellness. I want it to be exciting. My hope and prayer is that every meeting you can learn something and grow no matter where you're at, and that you can feel like value is added to your life. And so tonight we are going to talk about faith and finances, right? But we're going to deal with it from the attitude of failing forward. So I'm reading this book by John Maxwell called Failing Forward. And I have some notes. And as I was reading it, I thought about how this correlated with our financial wellness. And so I wanted to come tonight, share some scriptures, share what I'm getting from the book. And then I want to hear some feedback and hear some conversation. And I'm actually going to share this live real quick on my Facebook. And I also want to be, seeing the Facebook so I can see, what you all are saying online as well. But tonight we're going to talk about faith and finances from the subject of failing forward. Can you hear me now, Daddy, or no?
No, it was you were right. It was on my end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I got my notebook in front of me, or my notepad, and the key things that I have that when it comes to improving your financial situation is this: test, fail, learn, and improve. That's what life is all about. Like literally we're trying something, we're going to fail in some way or another, but hey, I need y'all to go out and close the door. No, give me just a second. My children have decided to enter the room. Y'all go ahead and go out there and close the door for me. Thank you. Close the door. Yes, Papa's on here, but you can talk to him after.
Can I say hi real quick?
Not real quick. Close the door. Okay, sorry everybody. But I guess they're gonna come say hi.
Hi, Papa.
Hello, baby. How you doing? I love you.
All right, y'all close the door. Say hi and then go close the door.
Hi, Papa. Mommy, are you at the beach?
What's up, baby? I love you.
All right.
Bye.
See y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Come on, Ivy. Mickey's pants are falling down. Yeah, please.
Close the door. Close the door. I gotta remember to lock the door next time. So when it comes to failing forward, your greatest skills for success are going to be relationship skills, being equipped, knowing whatever that field is that you're aiming to move forward in financially. And give me just a second. They didn't close the door, so y'all give me a second to go close this door real quick. All right, I am officially back. I'm officially back and undistracted. Got the door closed now. But when it comes to failing forward, a couple of things I'm going to talk about are our relationship skills, being equipped, our attitude, and leadership. So when it comes to relationship skills, the greatest skills for success are relationship skills, skills with people. Proverbs 12:18 says, some people make cutting remarks, but words of the wise bring healing. And I share this scripture because one thing that you're going to find out about people who are successful, people who do well, is that those people also have good relationship skills. Those people are wise with their words and they know how to talk to people, and they're not out there causing drama, or they're not out there causing problems. And so when it comes to, maybe this might be a bit of a motivation for you, is that understanding that by developing good relationship skills with people, you will begin to open up some doors, because many times that position on that job or that opportunity is not just simply gotten because you are really good at it, but many times it's gotten because you have developed a relationship that has opened up the door to that space for you. Before I move on to the next one, does anybody have any questions or comments on that first out of 4 skills for success that I'm talking about tonight when it comes to improving our financial wellness by improving our opportunities and our on the job or with getting a business? Does anybody have any comment on that, on relationship with that scripture?
Yeah, it makes sense to me because I think with most of the things that we do, normally it's not just us in a bubble. You know, it's relationships with other people, with a lot of professions, even professions to where you might, be, you might not deal with a lot of people. But when it comes to opening yourself up for like entrepreneurial type stuff, things like that, it's gonna also require relationships with other people. And so I can kind of see that piece right there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna move forward. The next one is equipping. And when I say equipping, basically what I'm talking about is having the skills that you need to excel in whatever you do. And the scripture that I thought of was James 1:4, where it says, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. And I know this scripture isn't necessarily talking about financial wellness, but what this scripture helped me to realize is that if I could just be steadfast, persistent, if I can just stick with it, that I will develop myself and that I will become equipped and I will become complete and good at what I do, which will give me the ability to create financial wellness for my family and my business or my job, my career, whatever it is I'm doing. If I could just be steadfast, I will begin to see some success along that journey, because I am steadfast. Any comments or questions on that skill for success? So the first one was relationships. The second one is equipping. Any comments or input anybody want to put on that one?
Yeah, I mean, even when you think about ministry, where it says that God called people to the fivefold ministry for the equipping of the saints, and we're equipped to be successful. And so God put things in place to equip us so that we're successful. And so even when it deals with in life with finances, you have to be equipped to be successful. It's one thing to make a mistake, but it's another thing to make a mistake and then not learn from it. And so I think we need to make sure that we have as much information as possible. And sometimes, mistakes can be avoided if I took the time to wait on the equipment or to make sure that I was equipped, because mistakes are also costly. And so the more mistakes I make, the more that it can cost me, in trying to be, whatever it is that I'm trying to do. It can cost, and cost is something that's wasted. And so the more that I waste, the less of a legacy, and it takes away from the wealth that I'm trying to build.
Yep. Yeah. Our net worth is our assets minus our liabilities. And so we want to increase those assets and decrease those liabilities, and mistakes can definitely increase the liabilities that we have. And our next two, so out of the 4 greatest skills for success that I'm learning about, the next one is our attitude. Our attitude determines our altitude. And last but not least, leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So the main difference between, I want to ask this question. What do you think the main difference is between people who succeed and people who don't? What would you say the main difference is? And I don't think any of you are going to give a wrong answer, but it just might not be the one that I share. Byron, what do you think? Or Daddy, you about to say something?
No, I'm gonna let your daddy go ahead. I'm trying to get in another device, but I'm listening right now. Okay, that's where I want to be right now.
Yeah, it's hard to say one thing, but I guess the one guaranteed thing is, if you give up, you'll never succeed. So I guess that's the one. I guess that's the one consistent thing, is that you'll never succeed if you give up.
Yep. Dang, Daddy, I thought you was gonna say something maybe different than what I had in my notes.
I mean, I couldn't think of. It's a lot of things that we think about. You need to do this, you need to do that, but I guess it's just one thing that if you do that, you're guaranteed not to succeed.
Yeah, that is a part of my notes. So this is what I put. This is the main difference. So it lines up in it. I put their perception of and response to failure. That is the difference, the perception and response to failure. Now I'm going to go on and explain what the different responses to failure can be. But nothing has greater impact than this. So there's no achievement without failure. You cannot meet anybody who is successful that hasn't failed. The best shooters in the NBA have missed, like Kobe, he missed the most shots. He took more. And so people who achieve great things, it's because they took more shots. Because honestly, if you don't try, then of course you'll never fail. So these are the wrong perceptions. And I want everybody to do a little bit of self-introspection. And when I saw this list, I actually was able to say, oh my gosh, here goes some things I need to change in myself. And I want to let you know up front that some of these things might be a little bit difficult to change. You might actually need to pray and ask God to help you. But these are the responses that that would cause you to fail backwards. So there are certain responses to failure that will make you fail forward. And then there's certain responses that make you fail backwards. So we're going to talk about the negative responses first. So failing backward, people who fail backward, they tend to blame others. So instead of taking responsibility, any problem in their life, everything they got going on, they point the finger outwards, and it's always somebody else's fault of why this problem is. So they blame others. My dad was saying before, they repeat the same mistakes. They didn't learn from it. They just simply repeated it. These are qualities that will cause you to fail backwards. They will slow you down towards achieving the success you want to achieve. This is another one. You want to be careful about being too unrealistically optimistic. This one is they expect to never fail. That's going to set you up bad if you just expect to never fail. You want to understand that, hey, I'm going to fall and it's completely okay. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to make some adjustments and I'm going to move forward, because people who are moving forward and succeeding are people who are running into bumps, running into problems or trials, or realizing that, hey, this is not getting me where I need to go. Let me go ahead and make a shift so I can get on track faster to get where I need to go. The opposite of expecting to never fail, which is also bad, is expecting to continually fail. So we want to be careful that if we fall in a lot, we don't want to expect to continually fail. We want to know that God works out all things together for the good of those who love him and called according to his purpose, and that we're on our way, that we're just learning. This is just a part of the journey. This is a big one. And pause me if you have any comments or want to make a note on anything I'm saying. This is a big one. Accepting tradition blindly will cause you to fail backwards. I believe that we should move with understanding, that we shouldn't do something just simply because somebody else did it without understanding why. Have y'all ever heard the story where the person, I think it was every Thanksgiving, they would always cut both ends of the turkey, and they just were doing it and they put it in the oven, and then one day their mom was like, well, why are you always doing that? She was like, well, you always did it. And the mom was like, well, I did that because my oven wasn't big enough. So all these years they up here wasting both ends of the turkey because they just accepted tradition blindly and were big wasting. And so we want to make sure that we gain understanding so that we don't fail backwards. We're not wasting. Being limited by past mistakes. Our past don't define us. Our past doesn't define us. Really, we get the opportunity to define who we're going to be with the decisions and choices we make. And guess what? We can always change that. Thinking I am a failure, we want to be careful what we think, because our thoughts turn into habits, which turn into our life. Our thoughts, they come out and we express our thoughts and they begin to shape our life. And so in the Bible, it talks about renewing our mind, and God was giving us so much wisdom, because if we begin to renew our mind and we shift our thinking, we literally can change our whole life just by focusing on our thinking. And last but not least, my dad hit it on the nail, quitting. When we quit, we're going to fail backwards. And let me tell you, when you are striving to make a change in your life, it's going to be hard. Most likely. It's going to be a struggle. You're going to get knocked down. Stuff is going to go wrong. And you might be tempted to quit. You might be tempted to think you're a failure. But remember, those are attributes to failing backwards. And we want to fail forward, because failing is neither good nor bad. But the question is, what is our perception and response of failure? And we have 100% control over our perception and our response. Now, I want to talk with you about the positive side. And in the end, I'm going to bring it all in and show how this relates to finances. I'm going to bring it in. But failing forward, taking responsibility. Taking responsibility. That's a big one. Taking responsibility, meaning that's the opposite of blaming others, but taking responsibility and ownership. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kiara, I'm listening to you. And taking responsibility is it right there. It's being able to accept when you're wrong and be able to learn from it. When you're saying falling and everything, I came in, I was trying to get my device for it, and I kind of like put a pin on a few things, nothing don't come to a failure but a try. It's almost like where your mindset is on your goals when you fall. Falling to me it strengthens us. It's almost just like the church and living a Christian life. The harder you fall, they're just trials. And they're supposed to make us stronger. Same thing with that. Same thing with the church.
Yep.
About traditions, the old ways. We doing it so, you can do wrong so long, not exactly being wrong, but you just get stuck in old ways and you're not looking for progress and moving forward with the new generation and everything. I'm on with y'all tonight on a computer. Kiara, you know me when your daddy died in South Carolina all them years. Always cell phone. I didn't know how to cut one of these jokers on, but I got to move with the time. And that's the same thing. When we fall, we have to get up and don't, it just go right back. We can't make failure about us. And we can't point the finger at people. We got to be able to be accountable for us not listening. Because sometimes as people, we think, sometimes we don't like advice that we know it all. And then it's best to deal with somebody that done been there. You know what I'm saying? It might be a different way that you're gonna do it, but at least you got some kind of directions of where you're going. And I think we just need to just be able to listen and learn from it. And don't put pride. A lot of times failure comes here with pride. Sometimes we, it's always fall before the pride. But we got to leave pride alone, especially when you don't know something. It's a lot of things that I'm learning as a testimony to show effective of this ministry is. I just right now can't share what I want to share, but I'm learning to wait and listen, speak slow, listen fast. And then it's almost to go right back to the vision. You got to write it down and you got to run with it. And if you fall, the vision is still there. You just failed. You got to get back on track.
Right.
And slow down. Sometimes we move too fast. We get in front. It's like riding on a horse and buggy. The buggy stop for the horse to get a break. We can't wait. We go and get in front of the horse. He done got a break. Now he run over you. Then you wish you would have stayed on the horse, on the buggy. But anyway, that's all I got right now. I'm just letting you know I'm right there riding right on with you.
Yep, that's good. That's good. And this all ties into the final point that I'm going to share at the end. Like it's all tying in perfectly, because this year we have covered so much. We talked about investing and home ownership and business ideas and just getting out of debt. And some of you might be looking and have been on earlier and thought, man, I knew I learned that, but I still made this mistake anyway, or I kind of fell off here, and you were coming towards the end of the year. But guess what? You can start fresh. You can start shifting some things, and it's a new day. We can learn from each mistake. That's one of the things failing forward. We get an opportunity to look back. Now we're coming towards the end of the year. We get an opportunity to really reflect, look back over the year and look at what happened and see what mistakes we made that we can learn from.
Yeah,
so that
and
Kiara,
not cutting you off. And not only that, we look at, when you said so somebody can look and say, I used to think this ministry, and I always think sometime when it starts that, the night, this just ain't mine tonight. I'm gonna go because I ain't heard what. But if I just stay and wait, it's something there for you. Even if you have made it, it's still something there that you can pass on to your grandkids. I'm learning all this through you guys. Pass it on to your grandchildren, to your children, about something that they wouldn't have to endure what took you so long. You did it, but it could have been a lot more smoother if you'd have just listened and stop having to keep falling, getting up, falling, getting up. These type of training, what we're going through tonight is telling us that we don't have to keep doing that. And then the ones that made it got homes and they got bank accounts now. Oh, it wasn't that easy. But now with workshops like this, we can tell our children what I heard tonight. Now, I don't want you to go what your daddy went through. We live in this and we did, but it's better now. I learned something tonight that I can share with you if you listen to me.
Yep.
And with your intention, what are your intentions? Got to be right. And you will have to do and do what I had to do. I got some knots on my head. Wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
I didn't have this. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? So if you can put that together for me, that's what I got.
That what you said lines up with my next part. Knowing, failing forward is knowing that failure is a part of progress. It's not separate. It's a part of it, and it is completely okay. And then this one is tough, right? It's easy to say, but I think that one of the things that is going to help us with this next thing I'm going to share is really making sure we are surrounding ourselves with quality people, because those quality people are going to help us with this next one, y'all. So failing forward is maintaining a positive attitude. Because when things go wrong, sometimes it's easy to get negative and get discouraged and get frustrated. But you got to have some good people around you who can help you sometimes maintain that positive attitude. Like today, I started to feel a little bit discouraged. And then one of my mentors was like, oh, that's normal. That's part of, what happens. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, you're right. I did know that, but I forgot because I was just focusing on the negative. And they helped me to shift to the positive and get back to work and not just be soaking about, the negative. And then the next tip on failing forward is challenging outdated assumptions. Challenging outdated assumptions. So we don't have to things change and it's okay. And we don't have to accept an old assumption. We can switch it up. Another thing with failing forward is taking new risks. We need something new. We got to do something new. And sometimes that requires taking risks. If you put your money in a bank, that's not really risky, but also you won't get any growth. Investing in some stocks is a little risky, but taking that new risk gives you an opportunity to get your money working for you. It gives you an opportunity to get some growth. Well, taking new risks. Also, now this might seem really interesting. Failing forward is believing something didn't work. Believing something did not work. Sometimes we stay stuck and we don't move forward because we think it's working and it's not working. Sometimes the church not growing, they just staying exactly the same because they believe it's working, but it's not working. And so to fail forward is we have to believe like, okay, something didn't work and that's completely okay. This is the adjustments we need to make so that we can move forward. And so it is okay for it not to work, but the first step for someone to begin to make progress and change in their life is first to believe that it's not working the way it is. Because when we think it is working, we just gonna stay the same and keep doing exactly the same thing. And our financial situation is never gonna change because we keep doing the same thing. So first, we have to believe our situation is not working if we want it to change.
Here, I don't know how to use that. I'm raising my hand, and I just look at analogy when you said that as a game, a puzzle, one of those pieces that we put together. And you have your triangles, your circle. And church and business is the same way. You can have a triangle, but we know it all. Our pride, nobody can tell it. We're gonna try to put this triangle in a circle. We keep on trying. You don't have to go through that. All we gotta do is slow down. You don't get mad and throw the game away. What you do is you find the right pieces. The puzzle's there, but stop trying to force something into something and you see, like you say, it's not working. Don't get mad. Don't throw it away. Don't get rid of it. It worked with somebody else. They trying to tell you how it worked, but you'll move that triangle around and you'll see you'd be done pushed it so much till it almost gonna go in there. Get frustrated. It almost feel like it's going in. You start pressing and look like it be moving, almost like looking at a body at a funeral and look like all of a sudden they wink at you. No, they dead. Change the pieces, get the right pieces.
Yeah.
The right knowledge, the right education, the right settings like this. Get the right equipment.
Right.
And you'll find the right way to fit it in.
Yes.
That's all I got. I'm just sitting here trying to put this old mind together. But I'm right on with you.
This is good. I'm going to pause a little bit before I share the last section of it. Because Byron, what you're helping me to see when believing something didn't work is then the question becomes, well, how do we find the right pieces? How do we get the puzzle together? And you made me think of this. When you're putting together a puzzle, we normally look at the picture when we put the puzzle together. So with that being said, when we are going after a goal, we want to have the picture, the vision, maybe some leadership, somebody who maybe knows a little bit more, can see a little bit more to help us put it together. We don't have to try to like figure it out with nothing. We can get some leadership, maybe go to an event, go to a financial wellness workshop, get around some people, get the bigger picture so we can see it to help us put our picture together better. So that was
good.
And
goes back to what you were saying earlier about surrounding yourself by the right people. Some people master puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Some people master finance. Some people master puzzles. Some people master how to get a house. Some people master puzzles. Some people know how to budget your money and try to teach it.
Right.
No, you still in them old ways and you thinking it's right. But you got to change your mindset. And it's something else you say about, I remember this song. If you ever get time and listen to the lyrics of it, it's real good. It said, we all need somebody to lean on. And it said, my brother, I wish you just listen to those lyrics to that song. And the man say, I'm right there. Just call me. Always have somebody you can call that know the puzzle. And we ain't got to always be just like talking about Christians and all. If folk know puzzles that are not Christians that will help you in good intentions. Yeah. It might not be solid as wheels in one area. See, that's why I said it takes a village for anything we do. We all need somebody to lean on. Go ahead, Kiara. Go ahead. I'll get back with you. Go ahead.
That's good. That's good. And I can think of a prime example. So one of the key, one thing that I wanted to get really good at is really serving clients with investments in my license. And there's this guy who was like one of the best in my company. And so I reached out to him and just asked like, hey, can I come to your trainings so I could just learn from you? Cause like, you're like the best and I really want to learn from you. And he actually invited me. So every Saturday morning I hop on a Zoom and get to hear from him. Been learning some good stuff. And then I just recently saw that Forbes recognized him out of all the financial advisors. He was like in the top 125, which I was like, whoa, like I knew he was good, but I didn't realize he was that good. But I say that to say that when it comes to wanting something to work, a great idea is look at who it's working for and go learn from them.
Hey, you just hit my next case. I was just looking on the Zoom here and I was looking at a few people we got tonight. That's good. Know why? We're here.
Yeah.
Our success, the way people seeing us and they see us, they'll be here because they say, man, I remember when cornbread or this and that. Man, that joker done mess around and that joker done mess around. Man, oh, she be on once a month. She be on once a month. If she can, she got folk on there, man. That's how I got my learning. So what we have to do, we have to take what we get and never worry about numbers. Numbers comes with our success. Your blessing will bring numbers. Might not be on Zoom, but they'll bring numbers because somebody want to know. Somebody want to know. Somebody gonna want to know.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. And then my last one of failing forward is persevering. I read that wrong, but persevering. And so keep it on, keep pushing. Don't give up. That's how you fail forward. And my very last point, and then it'll just be open for discussion. But my last note that I have is here. The key to changing your circumstances is changing yourself. The key to changing your circumstances is changing yourself. And I can attest to this, that there was a time in my life where I focused on being a good leader and trying to share messages and really help people and make a difference, and really loved helping people. And I was able to help some people, but I found that I was able to make even more impact when I focus on becoming a better me, instead of just focusing so much on how to help other people. Because what ended up happening was, as I grew and I changed and I did better, I actually began to inspire more people, just focusing on changing myself. And so tonight, I want to encourage you that as you go, as the year is ending, I want to challenge you to focus on you. Focus on improving you. And I will share specifics, because one thing that irritates me is somebody who tells you what to do, but doesn't tell you how to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not really that helpful. Like, I know I need to do it, but how? So I'm going to give you some specific hows. Something that I do to change myself. And let me hurry and plug up my laptop before it dies. Something I do to change myself is, one, y'all might think this is a little interesting, this answer, but meditation. Really getting quiet, breathing, praying, talking to God, because sometimes we get going in our day so fast, and like we wake up, we hurry up, we get dressed, we get out, we get on the road, we get to work, doing, and then we just repeat. And then the next day looks like yesterday, because we never really changed anything. We basically were just bringing forward what happened yesterday to the next day. And I found that what really shifted things for me was meditation. And just before I get on the phone, check an email and get to work, slowing down, taking some deep breaths, and then getting out a pen and paper. And then I just start to write down affirmations. So instead of focusing on where I'm at or what I really want to change, I actually begin just to write the vision, make it plain upon the table. I begin to say, I am. When I don't, and I'm not gonna act like I do it every day, because sometimes I forget and I get busy or I wake up late. But one of the affirmations that I write down when I do them, I write, I am 130 pounds. I'm not 130 pounds, y'all. That is my goal weight that I want to be. So I write, I am. So when I'm writing those affirmations, I write them in I am statements. Like, it's already there. I'm writing the vision, make it plain and clear. And so maybe you're watching this, and maybe you might need to meditate, get quiet, and begin to write. One of the things I write is, I am debt free. I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. I am organized. I am timely. I just begin to write down all the things that I want to be. I write them down as though I am. And I notice that when I do it, y'all, I start to see improvement without even like trying as hard. I just meditate, write it down, and things just begin changing for me. My actions start shifting towards it. There's something really powerful about writing down. There's something really powerful about the power of our tongue, what we say and what we think, and how it shapes our life. And so when it comes to financial wellness, we can take those same concepts. You have an income goal, a certain amount of income you want to make. You can write it down. I am $100,000 earner a year. I am debt free. I am wealthy. I am financially comfortable. You desire to travel, right? I travel debt free. Whatever those is, you write it down as if it is so. And there's a scripture that says, speak those things that be not as though they were. And I just think about you're envisioning and writing your future. And the key is we really have to just keep that positive attitude and not allow ourselves to get depressed or get discouraged and get a mindset as a we can't change, because if we get that mindset, we're not going to change. But we just have to keep persevering and trusting. And that is the end of my talk. So are there any comments? This was our financial wellness seminar, and we over here talking about changing yourself. But honestly, if you want to change your finances, I think the best place to start is to change you. And then as you change yourself, everything else will start improving in your life. When I began to change my mindset, I started losing weight. When I began to change my mindset, I started making more money. I stopped having the old struggles because I changed my mindset. I what was it? I challenged those old assumptions.
Yeah, you're right.
That were running my life. I challenged them, and my life began to change. And it's an everyday thing, because things gonna try to come up and take you back to where you were. But it's an everyday thing to where we gotta renew our minds daily. Renew our minds daily so that we can change. And when we change, our circumstances change. When we change, our circumstances change. Not when they change, not when it changes, but when we change, our circumstances change. Amen. And I could just I'm preaching to myself, and I was learning these things, and I thought, well, let me just share this, because this, I think, is what really is changing me. Because money is about behavior. Right? So we can learn all the right things to do with money, but if we don't change our thought process and who we are, behavior won't change, and our relationship with money is going to stay the same. And so we really have to focus on changing us so that our relationship with money will change. Otherwise, we'll keep making the same bad decisions. Even it, like Paul said, he know what's, I forget what he said, he know what's right. He want to do right, but he keep doing wrong. It's the same way with money. And like, we know we want to be debt free, but man, you want that iPad and you apply for that Best Buy card and get that. And so we got to change us. And then we also got to not be hard on us, because however old you are, it took you that many years to get where you are. So you're not going to change overnight. You're not going to change. And so don't expect it, because that you're setting yourself up for failure. Expect that you are going to fall, and it's okay. And then you just keep working on it. And iron sharpens iron. Get around some people, get in a group to where they're pushing forward, because that's going to inspire you to do the right thing. That's going to inspire you to start back saving, start back investing. Maybe you started and you stopped, but if you're around people who are talking about it and doing more, all of a sudden you're going to want to do it because you're around people who are doing it. It's easy for me to want to take my money and invest it because I'm surrounded by people who do that and talk about it. It's easy for me to want to achieve great things because I surround myself by great people. I'm constantly growing and learning, and it's just organic. When you begin to work on you, you just begin to just connect with people who are doing great things. It's organic. Yeah. But it all starts with you.
And I think too, before you get ready to get out of here, we have to get wants and needs, separated with what we want and what we need. That for stars. And then we got to understand too, just because women are, like kind of like to run the house and things, the other woman, but it ain't always the woman that know how to control money. And we can't be too stuck on who can budget it until we get ourselves together as men or women, out of the two, both can't be terrible finance folks. It's got to be somebody with enough sense to know how to budget. And it don't have to be one or the other. But we got to sit down. Because in my eyes, I know it ain't me. I know it's not me. But sometimes I get caught up in thinking it's me till I get in front of the same bug I was telling you about earlier. And another thing, you know I use these crazy analogies, but I just think changing and not giving up, sooner or later, something got to happen. But we look sometimes for things that happen too big, too quick. Don't you know how we strengthen ourselves over small progress?
Yep.
You could save $20 last month. Oh man, we could have did better. We in the same hole. We can't have that mindset.
Yes.
Oh, last month I didn't save 20. This month I saved 30. Next thing you know, continuing to do it, it'll gradually get better. But what I think sometimes our mindset, we so gun-ho, but we looking too big, too quick. That's just like, no, I don't want to use that one. But I tell you, I ain't the world's best bowler. I didn't stop bowling really till we used to go out on nights with the marriage minister and stuff like that there. I throw it, I hit it on the little thing they call the gutter and all that few times. Next thing you know, I start getting up on the where you play at. Soon I kept rolling. Sooner or later I got old scrack. I fell down in the gutter. I throw it on the other side of the other lane, all that stuff, hitting other people's balls. But sooner or later, I throw the scrap because I realized I had to change what I was doing and concentrate better and accept that that wasn't me, but I wasn't giving up. Same thing with finances, man. We just have to realize who's more in charge of making sure everything get done and look for small increase. God said, I bless you over small things. And then I started enlarging the territory because we got to understand still, he's right in there with us. But I know I'm not looking for me to do so good. But if I came up with $20 at the end of the week and I'm used to being dead broke, that was a start. Give you some incentive. But don't look for everything to happen overnight. You can't be doing bad for 40 years and think one of these classes you just mastered. Time change people. People don't change time. Time change people. Experience change people. Failures change people. None of them come to a failure but a trial. And none don't come to a sleeper but a dreamer. Go ahead, Kiara. Go ahead. I feel pretty good tonight.
Hey, you know
I
what?
throw one on you. I know you ain't heard that.
No, that's good. You reminded me of something. So, I help clients with protecting their assets and then also being prepared for retirement. So I help them be prepared if they die too soon or live too long, and then I help them to become homeowners because I believe all those things deal with legacy. But this is something I tell all of my clients when they're getting started on this journey. I tell them oatmeal is better than no meal.
There you go. Now you're talking my language. Yes, sir.
And I say that, I was with a client today and I said, how much can you commit to for your goals? They said $50. I said, okay, no problem. I said, we're going to take $25 of it and we're going to start plugging that away into an emergency fund. And we're going to take the other 25 and we're going to put that in a Roth IRA for you. That way you're working on your retirement investment and you build your emergency fund. And then I said, when we get your emergency fund, this part, then we go ahead and take that whole 50 and we're going to put that towards your Roth IRA. And then I said, because you're in this habit, I said, there's nothing wrong with where you start because you're in this habit. What's going to happen is you might do a little overtime or you might get some extra money. And guess what? You already got this going. And so now you can say, I want to just throw an extra 100 in there this month. But I say oatmeal is better than no meal because starting small is better than not starting at all. Like some of you might be looking and seeing, well, I don't have it. And truth be told, we can all start somewhere. we can all start somewhere. We can make a shift. Me and my husband, one of the things we did was we didn't get cable. We only have internet. We don't have cable. You know, some people pay 150, 200 bucks a month for cable. Guess what? We'll pay for it. And so we said, well, if that's what it takes, we just won't get that. And then we'll make sure we get our life insurance, and we'll make sure that we open up our investment accounts for us and for our children. And I mean, now I don't even have the desire for it. And then we use Netflix, and I mean, our kids have a bunch of toys, so they be around here just playing on their toys and stuff. So, but oatmeal is better than no meal. So it doesn't matter where you are. Starting small is better than not starting at all. So don't wait until you get to a certain part to get started. Get started now on your journey. Make a move now, and if you don't know where to start, I'm more than willing to help you. I don't charge people at all to share advice. I completely complimentary. I do not charge at all. And so if you want to get started on your journey, you don't know where to start, and you just want a free 15-minute phone call, just send me a message on Facebook or visit my website, legacyengineer.com. But oatmeal is better than no meal.
Yeah, I think something that you said earlier about behavior, and I think behavior establishes culture, and the right culture could lead to a legacy of building wealth, a strong legacy. And so what I thought about when you said that was, so my great granddaddy, his name, I call him Papa, but his name was Harmon Mosley. So he was born in 1904. And so for the summers, I went and stayed with him on his farm. He had a farm in Quitman, Georgia, and he owned 100 acres. He had tobacco, corn, hogs, all, but he had 100 acres is a lot of land. And he was born in 1904 and had 100 acres. His dad, Sam Mosley, was born in the 1860s. He was actually born a slave. Slavery ended when he was when he was like 5 years old or something like that. And so now you got somebody that was born whose dad was born a slave. He was born in 1904 at the height of Jim, but he owned 100 acres of land. And then so what should happen when you've created a culture by your behavior is that your children see it. And so now what's going to happen is they're going to repeat what they saw, hopefully. And so when I think about Papa, 100, we would wake up in the morning, my Aunt Baby, she would go out to the chickens, get eggs and, cook breakfast. And then I'd be gone all day long until 12 to come to eat, because you got bullet grapes, you got all this stuff out on the farm. So me and my cousins, we out all day, but he owns 100 acres of land. And so then what happens is when you create the behavior, the culture, now what you've built, when you have family come along behind you that saw this and can continue in that culture, they're going to add on to the 100 acres. And so now me coming, a couple generations later, that if he had 100 acres and I built on that, he had his children. So that was his children had to decide what to do with that. But as long as they did the right thing with it and built on that and then trained their children right, that means, we probably should have been in a place to where we really would have learned from that. Now, I think family sold it because it was out, in Quitman, Georgia, but 100 acres of land. If we did the right things with that, just imagine we could almost own enough to have a town, our own town, our own city. And I think that's the importance of behavior, is that you establish a behavior that creates a culture and you pass that culture down. And then what you build, those that come behind you build upon that and establish a legacy to where there's generational wealth. But it takes getting that information, being equipped, and establishing the kind of behavior so that when your seed grows up, they're wise with how they handle money. Make some mistakes, but they're wise with how they handle money, so they're not continually starting over. and starting over, but there's a strong, building that they can stand on to continue building it. And that's how we see a lot of families. A lot of families that in some big towns too, but small towns seem like they own everything in the town because they kept adding to it. And that's how we have to be.
That's good. That's good. And I'm a testament of behaviors, coming down from generation to generation. I know my grandma Ida owned a house and went and bought another house, kept the house she owned, and her house was able to be a blessing for her children. Then my dad went, and I don't necessarily know if that's what his plans were, but he ended up owning multiple houses, and then his houses was blessing for his children. And now, one of the things I wrote about in my book, where my desire is to do the same thing for my children. And so where some might not have even thought about it, the legacy that my family has built is a legacy of lifting up the next generation, right? A legacy of the next generation to be able to start at the next level and not just starting back from ground zero. And if you're listening to this, you have the power to begin to create legacies and behavior, even in your children, that will affect their children and their children and grow to be something great. Because I believe who I am today isn't just random, but I have parents who have excellent thought processes, who have right thinking when it comes to legacy and building wealth and setting yourself up for someone not to be able to have their thumb on you and own you or be dependent on the government, but a family who has taught me that I am capable and that I can get out there and I can work hard and I can, make a difference. And so I'm here to share with you that, hey, you can too. You can make a difference. Whether your parents did it or not, you could possibly be the start to that change, to that difference in your family. And I think the thing you got to remember is not what you make, is what you keep. And when it comes to your financial plan, if I were to give you any kind of nuggets or some things that you want to go ahead and get in place ASAP if you don't have already, if you have anybody who's dependent on your income, you want to go ahead and get you some life insurance so you can protect your income. So nobody don't got to set up a GoFundMe. And then the next step is you want to go ahead and get your emergency fund. Right? Because emergency is guaranteed to happen. You want to just start putting away at it, even if it's a little bit, even if just a quarter, something. Just start putting away, getting in that habit of putting away. And then you want to start planning, thinking about long term, maxing out your 401k. If you have a job and they give away free money on a 401k, if you're not taking advantage of that, if you got work tomorrow, go to the HR, ask them what they match, and figure out how to turn it on for you, because that's free money. They matching 4%. You need to be putting away 4%. So those are my tips, my financial wellness tips. I'm gonna throw in there, but I'm excited, and I can't wait to hear the testimonies and everything that everyone is doing. Our goal is to create financial wellness in the community, because a strong community can accomplish great things. And so we at our church, we're not just simply about, oh, you just come to church and you stomp and clap your hands, but we're about you being whole and you being someone who, supporting you as a parent, supporting you financially, supporting you spiritually, supporting your mental health. And so we'd love for you to come out, visit us at Greater Bethel, in person or online, because there's a place for you here. And there is so much support. This meeting right here is just a little bit of piece of some of the great things that we have going on at Greater Bethel AME.
All right. So we want to thank everybody for joining us. Those that were commenting, we want to thank you for participating. And and go back and listen to it again. The information is nothing if we don't put it into practice. And as Kira was teaching, this stuff is not difficult. It's really about a mind, the way I think, and minds can be renewed. But you can either begin building on what was passed down to you, or you can begin establishing something that you can leave as a legacy for someone else. But there's nothing that we deal with in life, no oppression, no racism, no discrimination. There's nothing that can stop us from building wealth. Sometimes you just have to be strategic and smart about how you go from it. But there's no power out there that can stop us from building a very solid quality life for ourselves and the generations behind us. God wouldn't tell us. He wouldn't tell us to leave for our children's children. He wouldn't tell us to do it if it was not possible. It's possible to leave a legacy for our children's children, and leave an inheritance is what the scripture says, leave an inheritance for our children's children. It's very possible, but it's all about what Kiera said, our behaviors, how we behave, how we spend, how we invest, how we save, behavior, because those behaviors establish a culture for our family. But it begins with us. And there are just so many nuggets. I got 3 pages of notes here. And so go back and listen to it again, share it with somebody, sit down with people that play a role in how your family moves. Y'all sit down and listen to it together. This is all elementary, but it's big time stuff. It's on the elementary level, but it'll get you a PhD in life if you follow the information. So Kira, I want to thank you for being prepared and every month giving us quality information. So not only can we be a good people, but we can be a very solid church that offers a major resource to our community. And we don't just do this just for people in-house. We do this for our entire community, and community now, in the time we live in now, community is anybody who gets online. And so you don't have to live in this neighborhood or this zip code or this area code. You can get online and get this information. So thank you very much, Kira. God bless you all. You all have a wonderful holiday, and hope to see some of you all tomorrow night on Real Talk as we're dealing with autopsy of the deceased church. But God bless you and have a great one.